Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, may I have your attention, please? Are you ready to engage in a mind-blowing experience and hear talks about life, technology, entertainment, and business? The next episode of HIPTHER Talks starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good day, good morning, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining another episode of HIPTHER Talks. Today we are having Eduard Montserrat with us, co-founder and CEO at Hatchet. Hi, Eduard, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about the company, about Hatchet. What do you do? Just give us a little insight on your side of the world.
Absolutely. Hi, Alex. Happy to be here with you today. So Hatchet is a company that we measure live streaming gaming. We provide measurement of what is going on Twitch, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, all these different live streaming platforms. So content in it, there's gaming, there's creators, there's esports. All the content in it, we measure it and we provide analytics about it. We started this company about 5 years ago at this point by we provided an early version of software for streamers to help them better understand how their content is being consumed. And we keep evolving the company to a point that today we serve some of the biggest companies in the industry, such as Riot Games, Activision, 100 Thieves, and many other teams, talent agencies, and video game publishers. What we try to make is we try to make the data in those platforms accessible. Gaming moves very quick, very fast. There's a lot of trends, and people in those organizations may not have the time to really decipher and spend hours and hours digging into the data. So we try to move beyond just providing broad data, spreadsheets of data, to something that's more actionable, so that these companies can use it on their day-to-day operations, but they're obviously very busy running their businesses. And some of the values that we try to provide to our customers is that they have to spend the least amount of time possible interpreting data and
basically fast-tracking them to the result instead of the process.
Exactly. So we like to say internally that we provide different lenses to read the industry. We sometimes refer to a microscope or a telescope, depending what you want to see. So in some instances, you might want to analyze trends and see what is going on at the bigger picture, and maybe help you make decisions moving forward, much more important foundational decisions. But sometimes you might want to look at things in the microscope level because you've done an activation with a brand, you're working on a very specific partnership, so you want to know how that activation or how the stream performed last week. So that's why we say these lenses to read the data.
Mm-hmm. I know that Hatchet recently published the annual streaming report. I'm really curious about what statistics did you find as being the more interesting, some fun facts, some insights.
Yeah, no, there are quite a few, and that's correct. We just released our yearly report. It's free to download. You can go to our webpage, streamhatchet.com, to get a copy of it. One of the insights that I can highlight is that streaming continues to grow. It grew about 20% last year compared to the previous year, which is a big number compared to 2020 to 2019. It grew almost 70%. So it's fueled mostly because of the lockdown, but we were expecting probably not that huge of an increase this year compared to that last year was an unimaginable growth that we experienced. But it continues to push forward, and we've seen that Twitch as a platform has consolidated in some of the markets that prior to pandemic times was a relatively small presence. I'm talking about Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking. Actually, if you go to the top 10 moments of the year, 5 of those are either Spanish or Portuguese speaking streams. So we've seen like Twitch and other platforms, YouTube and Facebook as well, have become much more of a worldwide phenomenon. That before it was maybe more localized, or was English was very, very predominant in these platforms. So that's, and then we see other maybe more anecdotal or more funny things, like the number one title or the number one game most watched of the year was Grand Theft Auto 5, which is a title that was released 8 years ago. So we see this title had tremendous success on live streaming and continues to drive massive amounts of viewership. Also, we saw the rise of mobile titles that have been popular for quite a while, but last year was definitely a huge increase on popularity. And I'm talking specifically
I think that this was the logical step that had to be taken, the increase in mobile names, because the lockdown, I think, influenced that a lot.
Yeah, we saw PUBG Mobile and Garena Free Fire numbers significantly increase, and specifically for platforms such as Facebook Live, where mobile titles represent close to 50% of the viewership. Specifically because Facebook has a tremendous large presence in Southeast Asia, which it makes to, in that region, these mobile titles are huge.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And as we said, the pandemic situation changed things a little bit. In terms of the data you have since the last year, what are the trends? What are the main trends? What are the biggest directions that you can see?
In terms of consumption, or in terms of, well, I guess what I would say is that these platforms will continue to provide more enriching experiences to the audiences, and the game publishers are gonna integrate much deeper onto Twitch and then all to these platforms. Actually, Twitch released a series of API updates for game publishers very recently, and we saw like games like Escape from Tarkov gain a massive amount of viewership due to Twitch drops and other connections with the Twitch ecosystem. So we think that will drive the future of gaming, deeper integrations with content and the actual game and the viewers, and become a much more connected ecosystem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I want to talk about a big boom in the industry. Microsoft taking on Activision Blizzard. I think that was one of the biggest news that I've heard for a while regarding the gaming industry, and I think it was one of the biggest news that personally affected me as being one of the players. For years I'm playing Blizzard games, Activision Blizzard, and now I can say I'm playing Microsoft games as well. Now, I know that your company put out some data on what this acquisition meant for the market share of the streaming audience, and I would like to know, what is your viewpoint on this? What are the opportunities and the risks as well for the new company?
Yeah, that was another huge and unexpected thing, at least from my perspective, that happened. It was not unexpected that Microsoft will go on buying more companies, because they've said that repeatedly, and they've been doing that. But the fact that they went to pretty much acquire the biggest one that was available out there, it was a pretty impressive and bold move from their side. I mean, Microsoft is going to multiply by 3 their presence on live streaming by these acquisitions, combining their titles with the Activision and Blizzard ones, which are quite popular on Twitch and the other platforms. Yeah, it really goes to the idea of all these companies have taken gaming very seriously, and they are not gonna let it organically grow at the pace that it should be normal. I mean, they really bet in gaming, and they believe that gaming is showing big growth. I think the industry is usually forecasted to grow around 10% a year, 8%, depending how you look at things, but it's probably one of the highest growing industries as a whole in the planet. So I guess it's not a surprise that these companies have realized that, and they want to double down their investment in the industry and their presence. But yeah, it's definitely going to be very, very fun the next few years to see how these companies play their cards and continue to contribute at the end of the day to gaming being better and bigger for all the gamers.
I'm really curious to check in a while from now on the general opinion of players after this big move. I mean, it happened like it would have happened on any shocking thing. There would be the against, there would be the pro, and there would be the meh guys. And in the players community, the gamers community, things happen in the same. There were people that were excited that Microsoft took over. There were people that were very, very much upset that Microsoft took over this, and there are people that are generally don't care about this, and I'm really curious to see how these percentages will shift after a while. But that's a thing about the future. And since we've talked about the past and the present, let's talk a little bit about the future. Where do you see the streaming industry going in the next years, the next couple of years? What are your predictions?
Where to start? I think there's gonna continue happening these acquisitions of companies and partnerships and moving pieces like a chess game. Like we saw a lot of activity with YouTube and Facebook signing deals with creators that were maybe on our platform. So I think that's going to continue to happen. These platforms are going to continue to try to capture more creative talent by signing some exclusive deals with the creators and probably teams and talent agencies and organizations that represent those creators and that content. Obviously esports as well. So esports might be esport content might be switching platforms to find a better deal for those producers. So that's going to be a very interesting trend to continue to analyze and see happening. I think Facebook and YouTube, and to some degree Twitch, will continue to grow into new regions and expand in territories that today don't have maybe that large presence. And probably lastly, I would mention that things like these platforms becoming much more interactive. The metaverse is going to continue to be around for the years to come, and how that concept of the metaverse get translated into day-to-day platforms like these is going to be a very interesting trend. And I can imagine having much more interaction with VR headsets, plugging into Twitch, and more interaction between the creator and the audience into maybe shapes or forms that it's difficult to imagine today.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Eduard, for this insightful discussion we've had. I'm thanking you once again, and I'm inviting our audience to stay tuned, to keep on subscribing to our podcast, and of course, for those of you that are interested in gaming tech and tech alone, we are preparing some really awesome panels in the tech conference, the spring edition. But until then, stay tuned. Tune on HIPTHER.com/podcast to check all the available platforms for our podcasts. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very, very much, Eduard, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Alex. It was great being here.
Thank you for joining. Be sure to check back next week for the next HIPTHER Talks and subscribe on Amazon Music, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and Pandora.